Keeping your Bitcoin in an exchange, even a reputable one like Coinbase, is one of the most foolish, reckless things you can possibly do. Out of all the questions beginner Bitcoiners ask, there is no one question that drives me crazier than this. Why shouldn't I keep my Bitcoin in an exchange? I see this question every single day with varying explanations, reasoning, and excuses, and every single time I try to control my rage and provide a thoughtful enough answer that will guide this person along the right path. And yet, people still ask it. That's why in today's video, I'm going to explain the actual reasoning behind why you have to move your Bitcoin off of websites like Coinbase, Binance, and more. Hey there everyone, Jonathan Levy here. And today's topic is an important one because it involves your protection and one of the biggest and easiest to make mistakes of all, where you store your Bitcoin. When you first get started, it is easy to think that Coinbase, Binance, etc. are all wallets. They even go so far as to actively market themselves as such in the App Store, and they write blog posts on security advice that conveniently neglect to mention that their wallets are not actual wallets. But despite their best efforts to fool you otherwise, these products and platforms are not wallets. They do not give you your own private keys where you control your own addresses, but rather your Bitcoin is stored with Coinbase or Binance or whoever. This is a big difference with a lot of ramifications. But I don't want to get into the technicalities of how different types of wallets work too much in this video. I have, however, done a previous video explaining the differences between different types of wallets and why you should choose the various different types that I do recommend. And so you can check that video out here or in the description. So what's the big deal here? I mean, what's the difference? If it looks like a duck, quacks like a duck, right? Wrong. First, let's start with the philosophical issues behind these so-called wallets. Literally, the entire point of Bitcoin is peer-to-peer. It's literally the title of Satoshi Nakamoto's white paper, and it's what makes Bitcoin so incredibly revolutionary. Listen, there are thousands and thousands of digital borderless payment systems out there on the internet, from PayPal to Cash App, Zelle, Wise, but only one of them is 100% trustless. No third party in the middle, no ability for anyone else to intercept, reverse, or censor your transaction. It is truly revolutionary in the history of money and commerce. But if you're storing this revolutionary money with a trusted third party, it's like buying the world's most advanced security system and then writing the secret PIN code right on the system's interface. It defeats the entire purpose. So why do people store their money in exchanges anyway? Especially when so many Bitcoiners like myself reply time and time again to their posts telling them not to. Well, people come up with lots of different excuses here. The first one, which drives me crazy, is, and I quote, "But I trust Coinbase more than I trust myself. I'll probably lose my keys." Wow, this is a big mistake for many reasons. First of all, exchanges are really big honeypots. Because they have so much funds, they're really tempting to attackers. Just like a jewelry store is much more tempting to potential robbers than your personal nightstand. Sure, gone are the days of Mt. Gox and other exchanges being easy to hack. See, even though there are occasional hacks of many different exchanges, and Coinbase even had one just a few months ago, today's exchanges have pretty decent security for their own reserves. But that does not mean that your account on their system is secure. In fact, your account is really only as secure as the weakest link in your personal security interface. That weakest link could be something as simple as reusing your password on another website that happens to get hacked, or logging into your email on a public computer and then simply forgetting to log out. Your security weakest link could even be something more nefarious and complex, such as an attacker calling your phone company and claiming to be you in an emergency in order to switch your phone number to their SIM card. From there, they can just reset your email password using an SMS for security, and then reset your Coinbase password. And since they already control your phone and all your different passwords, well, SMS two-factor authentication won't help you, and you literally won't have any way to recover your accounts. This sounds far-fetched, but I literally know people that this has happened to. It is not a fairy tale, and it can happen to you. All of these different attack methods are so much easier to attack and use to gain access to your Bitcoin from someone like Coinbase than a proper 24-word seed phrase, which is impossible to guess and impossible to hack into. Now I know what you're thinking next, and this is my second favorite excuse. Well, the exchange has insurance and they have me covered. They'll just reimburse me if my account gets hacked. Maybe, but not necessarily. See, they may, like Coinbase recently did, decide to reimburse you if the attack is big enough that it draws media attention and allows them to save face by being the good guys. However, if it's just you that's attacked, as thousands and thousands of people are every single day, they're just as likely to claim that it's user error. It's your fault for using an insecure password, leaving your cell phone at the library, or whatever. There is absolutely no guarantee that they will reimburse you, and certainly no guarantee that they will reimburse the full amount. But by the way, hackers and attackers are just the beginning of the issues with these so-called wallets. Because, you see, as Nick Szabo once said, trusted third parties are security holes. In other words, who's to say that Coinbase themselves doesn't take your coins for whatever reason? After all, as the saying goes, not your keys, not your coins. One of the most important aspects of Bitcoin is that it cannot be controlled or stolen by anyone in the middle. Unlike traditional fiat money, nobody, not the government, not the bank, nobody can steal or confiscate your Bitcoin from you. But this isn't true if you keep it in an exchange. See, even the most reputable exchanges, I'm not talking about the ones like the one that recently ran away with people's funds in South Africa. No, even the most reputable exchanges can freeze your account for whatever reason they want, and they do it often if they have even the slightest suspicion that you're laundering money. They are extremely eager to protect themselves against FATCA and KYC laws. So they aren't going to take any risk for your benefit, and they will readily and happily freeze your account even over something stupid like mismatched information or a mistake. Now, if that happens, you'll have to spend weeks or months on the phone trying to prove to them otherwise, and all the while, your funds are completely locked up, and you never know if you're going to get them back. And by the way, it's not just hackers, attackers, and the exchange that you need to worry about. You see, the government can easily subpoena the exchange to get information about your holdings, or even just pressure them to confiscate your Bitcoin should you get audited or owe back taxes, get into a nasty divorce, or even get sued. And if one of those things happens, you'd better believe that the other party is going to be able to seize your funds. And yes, let me assure you that most reputable exchanges like Coinbase, Gemini, and more will more than happily comply with lawyers and lawmakers to avoid getting into trouble themselves. Now, none of this is true if you hold your Bitcoin in a secure wallet that you control. Now you might be thinking, okay, fine, I get it, but self-custody is scary. After all, if I lose my 24 seed words or someone else finds them, they can steal my funds. So it's just easier to have a password that I can reset on Coinbase.com like every other account that I'm used to on the internet. Yeah, I get this. I hear this all the time, and people often tell me, look, there's no way my mom is going to learn how to self-custody. Nonsense. One of the great things about Bitcoin is that it teaches us the importance and the value in self-custody. It teaches us to take responsibility for our own security and break free from the model of trusted third parties. Now, this takes a mindset adjustment, and I get that, but it's an important one. As I often like to say, Self-custody equals self-determination equals self-respect. Get some. In today's digital world, learning to take responsibility over your own security is an important skill that everyone should have. And when you learn to take custody of your own money, you also learn how to create freedom from the broken financial system that disenfranchises and completely robs everyday people of their wealth. With that comes a newfound sense of confidence, knowing that you are protecting yourself and your family from the whims of central bankers and financial meltdowns. And let's be honest, is it really that hard to securely back up 24 words on a piece of paper? People have been securely storing confidential documents, bank vault passcodes, and even physical gold bullion for generations. So how hard is it really to secure a single slip of paper? Now, if you're worried about theft of that piece of paper, you can look into other more foolproof and more secure solutions such as Shamir Backup, which I've actually covered in a previous video. Okay, now let's get to the final reason, and it's a really practical one. Exchanges charge insanely high fees for transactions. See, even though you can usually send a transaction on the Bitcoin network for as little as 7 cents these days, many exchanges charge upwards of $15 for a single Bitcoin transaction, and then they batch those transactions with 100 or 200 other people's transactions, meaning that they are making insane profits of thousands, tens of thousands, or millions of percent off of your transactions. Now, if you actually want to use the Bitcoin network and transact on it as it's meant to be done, then you can't afford to pay those kinds of fees for every stupid transaction you want to make. For this reason, it's best to periodically sweep your entire exchange account when you reach a certain threshold into a wallet that lets you set your own fees based on the current level of network congestion. So there you have it. Though the exchanges would love for you to believe that your Bitcoin is really just safer in their hands, the reality is that it's not. They just want to keep it there so that they can continue to profit from your transactions and lend out your funds like a traditional bank, and have more funds at their disposal for their own operations. But the whole point of Bitcoin is to do away with the entire bank model, to move to a trustless, peer-to-peer economy where we all have complete control over our own wealth. By using wallets like Coinbase, Binance, etc., you are missing the point entirely, keeping your Ferrari in first gear, if you will. It's time to get your Bitcoin off of the exchanges. If you haven't already, check out my other videos on how to choose the absolute best wallet for you and your situation, or check out some of the reviews that I've done on various hardware wallets and secure seed phrase backup systems such as CryptoSteel Ledger blocks. Plus, make sure to subscribe and hit the bell icon to be notified, because I have some really, really exciting content coming out on this topic very, very soon, including product reviews, security guides, and much, much more. One way or another, just promise me you'll move your Bitcoin off of the exchange, and always remember, not your keys, not your coins. Stay safe and happy hodling.